coming.
always wait till 3:05. We might as well stay consistent.
Stay consistent, he says. You got my notes though, right, Josh?
I did get your notes, and then your revised notes. Well,
right.
Why are Forge Hammers so expensive? That's the real question.
This entire State of the Guild address is about finding the answer to that question. Thoughts? Anyone? Also, everyone in here, if you would like, top right of your screen, there should be there's a chat button or like a little chat bubble that you can show the text chat. Some people have found it. We discovered it. It's so you can talk and ask things, and we can try to address things in the middle. Otherwise, we do a Q&A where people can raise their hand, and we'll bring them up to speak at the end.
Yep.
If you want, but potentially you can state stuff in there, and we'll be keeping an eye on it throughout.
This I need these gone. Vendor, do you know what we need to do?
Drugs?
8.3 missed.
8.3 miss?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Oh, like go into the miss
Yeah.
in 8.3.
Mm-hmm.
If you fund my set, absolutely.
Oh, we already have a question. Mr. Midas, the time frame on the new hideout is as soon as we qualify for a headquarters with season points, so we can instantly HQ it.
It counts for the whole season.
Oh,
yeah, we already have it.
Just kidding. A month or less then, probably. I want to get a few more small scale events in, where we get like a good amount of people coming, and then
Oh, we got a bubbles.
As soon as we get like just a little bit, because I don't want us to go there and get, third partied and rolled again. I want us to be prepared, but we have already gotten a lot better, and we've already fixed a lot of comps. So we'll be going over a lot of the things we've changed today. So less than a month.
Okay. Just keep waiting, see if anyone else shows up.
That's so expensive.
Okay. Well,
That was to help the newbies with living up gear. Midas was actually going to talk about that too. Yes, but no, but yes. So one thing I have learned, Midas, is actually a lot of our guild has joined the raid Discord and gotten famed up. So I think an even more efficient way to do that is to run like higher tier ABBAs with people that are experienced in ABBAs, and then have the newer players come on the correct build, of course, and have them fame leech a little bit. And then instead of having to run like 3 or 4 tier 6 ones, we run like 1 to 2 8 or 8.1 ones, and then they get to just spike super quick. If there's a lot of people that want to run like a tier 6 one, then I'd be happy to do that too. Don't have a problem with that at all.
Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and start then. It's 3:05. We've picked up a Google, so that's good. Okay, so I actually, first of all, welcome everyone. I think this is the 5th State of the Guild we've done. I think. I don't know.
We really should number them.
I'm not keeping track, and we don't have a recording of every single one. Thanks a lot, Spuds. So don't actually.
Hey, we're in the 80%. Don't piss them off and make it a 60%.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. So I'm, for people who might not know, I'm Venderdeck, and I'm the guild leader. And I take care of a lot of the management part and manage the Discord and manage all that kind of stuff. And this is Lost, and he's our master shot caller and second in command. So he's going to be the one that takes us on all the fun stuff to do. We also in our leadership team have Mare, who also helps a whole lot behind the scenes with the management side of things. So I actually have a lot to go through today. There's some pretty big things to go through, so we're going to try to hurry along. But the first thing we want to just bring up is that we went and we attempted our hideout placement, and unfortunately, if you weren't there, which thank you to everyone who did show up. It was a good experience, but unfortunately we failed. Had like 2 minutes left, barely didn't make it, so that sucks. But also, just think of how much better it's gonna feel when we finally do get it. So, we gotta earn it. So, so that
Also,
happened. We were just kind of
let's
in a yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, like also for everyone that did come, we held out until 2 minutes remaining when we were getting third partied twice over. So like, if anyone feels bad about it, please don't, because it was a very harsh situation, and we had three separate parties all closing in. So it was not like we just got wiped. We held out for 18 of the 20 minutes with three separate enemy teams.
Yeah, it was pretty impressive, and overall, I was pretty happy with it. Um, but that does bring us into after that we kind of reevaluated and we've kind of been rethinking some things, and so we've already kind of discussed this with a lot of you, and I made the announcement on the announcements tab. But we are kind of changing our PvP focus and the way we kind of like build and format our comps. As we're running around and doing stuff like placing hideouts or even just roaming around in the black zone. Um, Most of this I was going to just leave to you, Josh, to kind of do because you're better at PvP changes. But the basic gist of it is we're focusing like up until recently, like we've really had a focus on like the range DPSs, like the long bows, the fire staff, the brimstone fire staffs, and like all those big long range guys. And we're kind of shifting away from that and shifting more to a much more melee centered team. Um, and so that's the goal. And we've kind of updated some builds, and I'm going to be changing and adding in a bunch of stuff as well, coming with that for the guild builds. Um, but that's going to be happening, and then like I guess the way to think of it is like when we placed the hideout, I'd say we had about 10 DPSs, like DPS players there, and I would say about 7 of them were ranged and about 3 of them were melee, right? And the idea here is I want to kind of flip those numbers, right? Like I'd rather have like 7 melee and 3 DPS, bring in like Hellion jackets and just much more ready to scrap it out and brawl and just like throw down with people. Um, and in addition to that, packing much more melees, this comp style, just as a whole, is a much more forward pushing style. So it doesn't, it's you do the disengages. So you run in and you engage on people and you do kind of disengage, but you can kind of pressure the point a little bit more, right? Like you do your engage and you can just kind of run over people. Which, if you come on a lot of our black zone events and stuff, you might have noticed that's kind of what happens to us a lot of the time. These melee comps run at us, they engage on us, and then they just push right through us, and they never stop, and they just run us down and kill us, and we never get a chance to properly disengage, right? Um, so that's the kind of focus, is we're kind of adopting that play style a little bit more. Do you want to talk a little bit about any changes to builds specifically, Josh?
Yeah, I mean, you summed it up decently well. The main thing that we're also doing this for is it's focusing on self-sufficiency. So one thing that I've noticed a lot of is people will like it's kind of weird. People will either always land their damage or I'll never see their damage in a clump. And the problem with that is that means that their positioning's already off. So they're either playing right next to a healer, which means the healer's not worried about them, and then they don't get any kind of assistance, or they're playing so far away from any supports, D-tanks, or healers that they don't get any assistance because no one can see them. So the idea of this comp is if you do that and you find yourself in a situation where you can't see anybody, then you have Hellion jackets, you have melee, you're able to be self-sufficient and last until we get back to you or you find your way back to the team. So self-sufficiency is kind of the idea. We will still be doing the style with like damage countdowns and all that. That part won't change. It'll just be your Qs and Ws will have more impact. And we're trying to get everyone into the habit of actually using your Qs and Ws constantly, like in a ZVZ fight or a small scale fight. Your Q and W should always be on cooldown if you're a DPS. The one exception is like Firewall. It's pretty much
Right.
the only exception I can really think of that should be used on cooldown or shouldn't be used on cooldown. Everything else, like you should be using that to poke. You should be using that all the time, just to cause damage to start running out their healers. There's no reason to just save them for next fight.
Yeah. And that like because that's one point that it was like we noticed at the state of the or in the hideout placement was that like there'd be people inside of our ranks kind of like in our group and it was just like there wasn't much punishment being dealt out to them. Like there wasn't a lot of Q's and W's. Just like if somebody's inside, like inside of our group, beat the shit out of them. Like honestly, just beat them to a bloody pulp and kick them out, right?
Yep.
So that, but yeah, that's kind of the idea with that. But a lot of the builds, you'll notice like I have it on the announcements page. There's the builds on there, but a lot of them you'll notice that the focus like it switches to Hellion jackets. A lot more of them are they're that self-sufficient style. The other nice part about switching to this is Hellion jackets. Man, those things are amazing in like everything. So like you use those in like you know you can use those for dungeons. You can use those like it'll be really easy to fame farm them up is what I'm saying. Um, so whereas we realize we're kind of asking some of you guys to switch spec and switch builds when you've already worked and done effort or put it forth effort on stuff that all you've already put effort on stuff and now we're asking you to switch like this stuff should be easier though than like you know some of the builds we've had in the past. So hopefully that helps. I'm also going to try and hopefully some of my shot colors will help me out too. But just running like some more fame farming style events, which I mean like red zone dungeons is good enough. But like I'll be doing more static dungeons randomly just to like get people some fame. So anyways, so that brings me into that kind of sums up that point. Just kind of the PvP changes. So next thing we're going to talk about is we're making some changes. This is a little more specifically for my shot callers. So if you're a shot caller, listen up. This is important for you. Which we have a few in here.
It's also
But
important for people who want to be a shot caller.
it is also important for people who might want to be a shot caller. So one thing I am going to start doing as a leadership, and me and Josh are going to be doing this, is for our junior shot callers, I'm going to start shutting down and just like sending you a message and removing events if you're planning and placing events that are outside of the purview of a junior shot caller, right? So like if you're like, hey, I'm going to do a black zone group dungeons, that's something we reserve for a little higher up, right? And so we're going to start removing those events and we're just going to have a different set of rules. But with that, we're also going to be providing a much clearer path for junior shot callers to get promoted to the shot caller role, which is where you'll then be allowed to do like black zone roaming and I mean black zone official roaming events, I guess is what I should say, because you could always slap 5 people together and go roam the black zone. I don't care. But if you want like, guild, or if you want the guild to do like a regear on it kind of event, then that it's got to be a shot caller running the event. So we're making the path a little more clear for you to get promoted. Basically, the way it's going to run, if you are a shot caller, for the rest of you, you won't be able to see this, but if you are a shot caller on the Discord right now, you should see under the tools tab, which you have to scroll down past the voice or right before the voice chats for. There's now a new wait, where is it? I've lost it. In the tools tab, anyways, there is the events report page in there. And so what we're going to be using that for is basically once you run an event, you're just going to post a brief little snippet in there saying how the event went, right? Which can be as simple as like here, I'll like type it in chat, right? Like red zone dungeons event. So like you could do like this, right? Like kind of what I posted. It could be as simple as that. Right? I'm like, vendor did red zone dungeons, no contact, chill event, 8 million total loot. Obviously, if
No,
there's more
no,
to put in
no,
there,
no.
you can add more.
We're gonna make it pretty.
Well, I mean, you can
So
format it
it's
better,
very
but
simple. Well, but it's very simple. I'm gonna type it. Number one, what did you do? Number two, what was split? Number three, was there contact? And number four, location. Like that.
there you go.
Very,
Yeah,
very simple. Because you don't really need to type your name because you're the one sending the message. So that's not
that's
necessarily needed. But
true.
just put, was it Red Zone Dungeons? Was it Black Zone Open World? Was it Black Zone Dungeons? How much did everybody get in a split? Was there contact? In the contact tab, you'd put if there were deaths, if there were kills, just a summary. If nothing happened, you can just put chill event. And then the location. If it was like Black Zone Open World roaming, if nothing happened, just say Black Zone. If something happened, put where the deaths happened. Deaths happened in this zone. Or we got kills in this zone, or whatever happened with the zone name. If it's Red Zone
This
Dungeons,
is
just put we operated in, Stump Rot and, wherever.
this is also the point or the place where if you write in an event here, like in the the event report, and you write like, "Hey, I had Bubbles with me." Right, and Bubbles I told her we were going this direction, and she said, "Nah, vendor, you suck. I'm going this way," and then she died. Bubbles doesn't get a regear, right? So you can put that in the event to, or in that description to be like, hey, this person wasn't listening, and just kind of put stuff like that in there so we can keep track. But basically, we're going to basically have it so you run in order to become a shot caller. Which I suspect some of my shot callers would rather run that style of content over the red zone group dungeons and stuff. But it's going to be 10 events ran with the event reports reported. So we'll have to see at least 10 in there from you. And then after that, it's going to be a simple. We're going to ask our shot callers to record another red zone dungeon event, much like they do in the Ava Discord, where he does a promo event, so to speak, is basically run something like that, submit the recording, and Lost will go over it and give notes, feedback, tell you whether you passed or failed, that kind of stuff. The point behind this, it provides a clear-cut way for you to get promoted and get to the content you want to do, as well as also adds a little bit more legitimacy to the role in general because there's a process to follow to get to it. Right? You have to earn it. Um, so also we're going to be doing that to get. I don't know what policy you wanted for junior shot caller specifically, other than we're doing like to become a junior shot caller. It's mostly a interview followed by just a general showing of
Yeah, I already thought about
competency.
it too.
Yeah,
The easiest way, or the way that I'll probably do it, is to promo to a shot caller. I'll have you run. You'll get the clearance to run one event for your promo, similar to the raid Discord, that is a shot caller level event, and you can pick which one. You'll do the recording, you'll submit the video, and we'll go over it. I did the same thing for master shot caller. You'll do one master shot caller level event, get clearance for one, and then you will do the video, and we'll go off of that.
if Lost is feeling really nice, you could try to convince him to just sit in and watch you stream while you do an event, but something tells me Lost won't want to do that unless he really likes you. So
It depends.
it depends, but he might
It
just sit
just
in and
depends.
watch you go through red zone or black zone dungeons or whatever with somebody. But no, I was thinking more like specifically somebody going from just member to junior shot caller.
Yeah,
Lost,
I think
like it's mostly an interview process more than anything.
so. Zach, we already addressed. We have a Jeopardy game. Like hello,
You do have a Jeopardy game,
like
yes.
hello. I have a
That's what
whole
I mean.
ass
It's an
Jeopardy
interview
game for
process.
the. Yes,
Anyways,
but let's be transparent. There is a Jeopardy game. It is a full-fledged, coded and transitioned Jeopardy game about shot caller questions, situations. Um, we've already tested it with a new applicant, so it'll be good. And yeah, basically the new shot caller, you'll do an interview process, and then you'll play the game of Jeopardy. We'll also, with all of our current shot callers, be playing the game of Jeopardy at some point when I can get all of them together.
honestly, it's just fun. It's funny.
It's a fun one. Like it's not a. It's kind of one of those things because if y'all are curious, one of the best thing or one of the most important things about a shot caller is to not be too serious, but to also not be not serious enough. Like you have to have a good balance, which means you need to play a game like this that's fun, but also has very important information in it. So I think it's a really good balance.
So so yeah, so that kind of sums up, like, that's kind of some slight changes we're going to be making to shot callers. So just so you guys know, that might mean you're going to be seeing more red zone dungeons for a little bit, because with this, Gale is also being demoted, and I've already messaged him and talked to him about it. But we're demoting him back down to junior shot caller because we had him at shot caller, and make him go through the same process as everybody else to move up. Um, so that's happening. And then moving on from kind of that whole process. Next thing, this is a change we made a while ago, and I know lots of us have seen it and used it. But we now, under the tools section in the Discord, we have the regear requests, um, which basically, when you do a guild official event, right, which is basically means that there's an event posted for it. Those are going to be uh, guild sponsored, I guess, which means that, like, there's going to be regears for it, unless specifically stated otherwise, which would be a very rare case, and it would say in the event if it's not going to be. Um, Examples would be like if we were going to do like a fundraiser event to raise money for the guild. Obviously, we're not going to do regears in that style of event because that'd be counterproductive. Um, I mean, ideally nobody dies, but anyways, so with that though, the one thing I wanted to say is when you post a video on there, or when you post a picture on there, all we need is a picture of your death, with, for all the gear. And if you look on there, you'll see examples of what I'm talking about. And then the event where you died, um, and that's pretty much it. You're like, here's my death, here's the event I was on, and then we'll get back to you. And just with that, you need to be prepared. I've done it with some of you as well, but also we're going to be giving you some feedback as to potentially different choices you could have made in the way you geared yourself up. Not in like changing your gear, but like, for example, the main one I've seen recently is like tier 6 capes,
Here,
right?
Zach.
Like I see.
Zach. I'll just go take 2 screenshots really quick and put it in the chat
Right.
because
Yeah.
it's like bonkers, and for some reason people are still doing it. So the most classic one I see is we have a 4-3. We'll just do Fort Sterling Cape because it's the one we use the most. We'll do excellent quality. This one for a 4-3 Fort Sterling Cape, it is 103,000. For a 6-1, which is the exact same IP to a T, exact same, it is twice the cost at 218,000. There is no difference. There is no spec. There is no mastery modifier in capes. So that is the like best example. It is over double the cost for the same exact thing.
Yeah. So just know, when you get like feedback from a regear request, typically it's going to be make smarter choices in the way you spend your money, rather than it's not going to mess with like your build's wrong here, like bring this boot instead of this. That's your shot caller's job. The job of this is
Yep.
just to tell you how to spend your money better, right? Um, so that pretty much sums up that. Also, we've handed regears over to Mare, so she's going to be taking care of that for the most part. And she's also, the other thing I'm going to say is that if you're not online, the two ways you can receive payment for these is you can either directly get paid by Mare or myself or Lost for the regear, or if you're not online and we do it at a different time, then we would transport the money equivalents of the regear into your loot split chest in the form of fame books. We do choose fame books because the price is pretty static on them and they sell quickly. So it's pretty easy for you to offload them. Um,
Yep.
so so that's pretty good. Cool. Can we get more
Midas
loot split?
probably. Like as we get more shot
He,
callers, we'll definitely congruently grow loot splitters just to keep up.
yeah. Um, he's mostly asking that because he asked me right before we hopped into this chat if he could be a loot splitter. So he's being cheeky. Um, but anyways, the next thing I'm going to talk about also in this tools section of the Discord is we also have the contact HR section there. This is basically a button you can press that is going to open a ticket, which will also show up in the Discord. Some of you might not have seen it. It looks the same as when you opened a ticket to join the Discord and you had a little chat with me or whoever to get into the Discord initially. It's basically exactly the same as that. But that's going to specifically ping and go to a specific HR role that we're now adding into the Discord. Which is going to be somebody who has promised to be a neutral third party in basically all cases. Even if you have an issue with me or you have an issue with Lost, it's somebody you can talk to and be like, "Hey, here's the situation, and we need to come to a you know resolution with it." Typically, I still highly recommend you trying to deal with the situation yourself by just talking to the person. But if for some reason you don't think you can, or it kind of transcends that, right? Like if it's something you can't just confront the person directly about, then that's what that's there for.
Here, by the way.
So so it's kind of a
Jeff
tool.
already at your place?
Yeah, he's already
Why
here.
is he
So
already there? That's so early.
So that's kind of the. So I kind of added that as an option because that was one issue we kind of had, or that we were thinking, is that it's like people might have an issue with me and the way I'm running stuff, or they might have an issue with Josh, or right, and it's like, who do they come to? And it's like, if you have an issue with Josh, it's like, can't really come to me because I like 90% of the time I've got his back, and I make that pretty clear to most people. So I'm not exactly a non-biased source. So that's the point of this, which brings me to the kind of last main thing I have, which is we're promoting some people. So the first promotion that we're actually having in the guild is Cyanide, which he's kind of playing in the back. Some of you have probably done some stuff with him, but we know him in real life, and he's moving up to the leadership role, and he's also taking on that HR role. Um, so he's going to be the one that gets those messages when you open that ticket. Um, so Cyanide's moving up, and he's being leadership. He's also going to be helping me with some behind the scenes management stuff, at least for now. If he decides to move up and do more front facing stuff with you members and stuff, then that'll be something that happens later down the line. But for now, he's just behind the scenes going to help me out. Um, and then we also, this happened a while ago as well, but we also promoted General Paper to the Welcomer role since we lost Shapito, which I'm very sad about. But we lost Shapito, so we promoted Paper to the Welcomer role, and he's been doing a great job so far. I'm very happy with how that's been going uh, thus far. And also, we are going ahead and promoting Griffin to Junior Shot Caller, the Griffin, who is in the chat right now. And so he's being promoted to a Junior Shot Caller role. And we're gonna work with him to get him started running like his first events and getting all that going. So I think that pretty well sums it up. Those are the three main promotions. Is there anything I'm missing?
Nope, I think that gets it.
Gets it? Cool. So that was a lot of stuff that I moved through. I moved through it all pretty quick. So I understand some people might have some questions. So if somebody has a question about any part of this, because I did move pretty fast, then go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll invite you up to speak and get you going. Questions, comments, concerns. What assurances do we have that Cyanide's not unbiased? That kind of stuff.
Are, I don't like Josh and I don't like Zach, so I like the guild though.
I don't know if you guys heard that.
They're responding.
That's true.
Yeah, I like the
But
guild. So
but what?
what the guild deserves.
Okay. So just join the voice chat as mayor, and then you can give your speech. Yeah. Since you're sitting at mayor's computer, here I'll just invite you.
Oh, wow! How fantastic!
Anyway, yeah. So I'm not a huge fan of Zach and Josh, but I am a fan of the guild. I helped create it a long time ago, and so I want to see it succeed and continue to flourish. So any complaints or issues that you're having with your leadership, all you have to do is enter the ticket like Zach was talking about. I will handle it from as much of a non-bias as I can. Obviously, it's got to benefit the guild, whatever's happening, if there's a big decision that needs to happen. But you guys I've heard complaints about Josh and Zach have each other's back, which makes sense. I mean, they are the leadership. And so, they have to back each other up as much as they can. They've asked me to step in because I do a very good job of remaining neutral. It's kind of part of what I do for a living as it is. So, any questions, comments, concerns, just let me know and I'll be around for you.
Cool. I'll move it back to the audience. All right. Any other questions anybody has about re-gears, HR tickets, shot caller promotions, any of that stuff? Peppa's asking if you take bribes.
Unlike Joshua, no, I do not take bribes.
He said no. He doesn't take bribes. Unlike Josh. So
Donations.
do you take donations?
Donations are different.
Donations are different.
Donations are different, he says. All right. Well, it looks like this might be the first no questions in the history of State of the Guild address. So
There are a cap on donations. Of course not. This is America.
yeah, you can give as much money as you want.
However much money you can pull out of your wallet to turn into silver, I will take.
There you go.
No, just cash out.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Perfect. I think we can pretty well wrap it up unless any Lost can think of anything else he wants to say, or Jeff has Cyanide has anything he wants to say. So
Not particularly.
cool. Quick and easy. I like it. Peppa.
You like it?
Peppa has something.
So about the guild, the CBC comes. So I had a stupid idea lately. I don't know if it's actually stupid. So you know how we have the main fighters, you just like get everyone low. Sometimes people survive, like a lot of people survive. Why don't we have like one person designated to kill the survivors, like a dagger person?
So I'll answer that very simply. If our DPS are on it, they don't live with 1 HP. So I'm not going to implement an entire role to account for people not being on time with damage calls. I'm just going to teach people to be on time with damage calls.
That works better. All right, that was it.
Yeah, that does somewhat feel a little like adding in a safeguard for when we mess up, and the real answer is just don't mess up in the first place. But however, I will say that the Bloodletter is a build that is playable. However,
Don't
it's not.
advertise.
It's
Knock it off.
all damage rolls are filled. The player is a very trusted individual in a PvP situation, so it's like it's a very very niche case that we will take one. However, it's there. So
Oh,
It's not really there. Don't. Zach, no. Nope. Just
all
no.
right.
There are very few people that I would trust with the Bloodletter roll in a ZVZ. The main reason for that is quite simply the Bloodletter roll of a ZVZ is extremely selfish and extremely skilled, and you can very easily become a useless member of the party. And you do need a high spec. We have a couple people that already talked about it, so like we probably have already got our Bloodletter players for the near future as well.
So, all right. Did that answer your question, Peppa?
oh, never mind.
Okay. All right. Move to audience.
I mean, Chompy, like, what do you mean? I don't understand what you mean by that.
Little, because we harass them sometimes.
I mean, yeah, they deserve it.
They don't. I mean, not everybody can
Just
afford a PC.
kidding. No,
Not everybody can
no. The
afford
problem
it.
is if an issue arises that is due to the fact of someone being on mobile, we're not going to call out the person. But if you're on mobile, we're going to say it's probably a mobile thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's
The
just
one thing I
that's
will
just an
say,
objective situation of the game.
one thing I will say that is kind of nice though is that these like switches to melee. Honestly, melee is easier to play on mobile than like the ranged DPS builds. So this will probably help a lot of our mobile players too by switching to these style of comps because it's just easier to play in general. So
Agreed.
cool. Um, all right. Anyone else have a question or anything? Raise your hand, then Waters. There you go.
So for promotions, right? Because I kind of have just been running whatever events I possibly can.
Yeah.
Are we starting this from today forward, or is there like a progression that I'm already at? Kind of just like to see where I'm at in particular in this scenario.
I kind of want to start it from now going forward because otherwise, like, I would also have like Gale and stuff ready, and I'm just kind of like wiping the slate clean here with everyone. If you have, although I will say how I talked about how I'm going to be removing, events if you put an event that isn't junior shot caller material. If you have one posted already, then I'm not going to remove it. I don't think there is any though.
I
But
don't have any currently.
yeah, I was like, I don't think there is currently, but that's but yeah, so I kind of want to start over, and I kind of want to get those. I also want to get the logs going, right? So I kind of want to like get those event reports flowing in and see that happening. Because I think that's just going to be a good thing in general too. Because like I don't make it to every event, and so sometimes I just like to see the event reports too to see what happened in an event. Like I like to know how your guys' event goes, even if I'm not there. So,
Same.
but yeah, no, I'm just kind of wiping the slate clean, and I'm going to start over with everybody. Even though I know you've been doing a lot of events, but also you'll probably like have them knocked out in no time. But
Yeah, I'm not
also,
necessarily worried. I was just kind of trying to figure out what to expect going forward for like
yeah,
me, or like if any of the events I've ran have like gone towards that progression, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah,
just trying to kind of
no,
figure that out.
we're gonna base it off of specifically event reports submitted.
Okay.
More so than past events. Because yeah, it's like everybody's ran lots of events, like Connors has, and like
Yeah.
Gale has. It's just but Gale hasn't been running much recently, so we're backing up the clock a little bit. And part of the reason that I'm doing that too is because I have also had a lot of the shot callers sending complaints to me where they're like, hey, it just doesn't seem like people listen to me as much, and they don't, as much as they do to like Lost or whatever. And so part of the reason I'm doing this too isn't just so that we can make sure you're ready, but it's also so that we make sure that you run enough events with people in the guild so that you can start to build that trust and build that that relationship with the members of the guild. Because like if you've run a bunch of red zone dungeon events and you're bringing in 1 million split per person, and you do that like 3 or 4 or 5 times, then when you ask that person to come out with you into a black zone and lose a 500k set to you, they're like, yeah, you know what, I'll lose a 500k set for Waters because he makes me millions.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of part of the idea there too, is just to make sure that everybody's got that baseline where they're like building rapport and doing stuff with it. And that's pretty much it. Is that
Yep. So that was the only
Covers all
question I had. Sounds good.
sweet? Perfect. Anyone else? Any last minute questions, comments, concerns? Gail joined last minute, so
Welcome, Gale.
no, you can
Anyone
ask a
else?
question if you want, Gail.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's not last minute. We're only we still have another 20 minutes that the event is set for.
That's
Maybe
true.
20 minutes.
Usually we go for
What
like
do you
an
mean
hour.
last
So.
minute? Like
I've just already talked over all of my talking points. Is really what I mean. But that sounds like a Crackhead Thursday event.
there is something in the works for a tipsy dungeon night for a Crackhead Thursday.
And the poker nights.
There's gonna poker nights won't be Crackhead Thursday. That'll just be kind of a thing.
I don't know if I'm gonna count if Waters. If you run like a poker event, I don't know if I'm gonna count that necessarily as a event report. But you know, anyways.
But yeah, the next I need to actually post it, but there's gonna be an event on Thursday for another Crackhead Thursday.
Sweet, perfect, love it. Crackhead events are fun.
Oh no, Vince, we're gonna be trailer park trashed before we enter the red zone.
Chompy
Make
has
no
a question.
mistakes. We are going to be absolutely fucking wrecked by the time we are in the red zone, and then we're gonna do musical builds. So it's gonna be everybody wearing 4.3, and every time we change floors, you're gonna trade your build to someone else.
Oh lord, I remember you talking about that idea a while ago.
Yeah. Trailer
Alright.
park trash musical builds in a lethal zone.
Yep. Chompy, what's your question?
I was asking about because we were gonna hold off for the raid outpost placement and stuff for a while. Should we be trying to like help recruit and try to get the word out about the guild and like stuff like that? Try to get new players in, like us new guys.
I mean, you're always welcome to try to find people if you're just like, hey, this guy's cool, and you're running around somewhere and you meet
Right.
somebody. But that is something that like leadership is working on, getting stuff together and trying to be more active about recruiting because we can like like a lot of the like big discords like the HCE Discord, the Avo Discord, and the I'm pretty sure I'm not in it. I probably should be, but I'm pretty sure the Thetford faction probably has. They like all have channels for like guild recruitment posts, and so we're looking to try to get
Right.
together a post that we can post in those places to try to
To
bring
kinda
people in.
advertise.
Yeah,
Right.
kind of advertise and bring people in. In addition to that, like we're looking to get that same post and be able to put that in like the Albion online forums and stuff, right? So we're working on that, but that's more of a leadership thing we're doing. We don't expect you members to do anything as far as that's
Right.
concerned. We did that actually does bring up something that a change I've made is I did recently close open joining to the guild. So
Okay.
now
Right. So it's
people
invite
joining.
only. I think that's
Yeah,
what I
now
was hearing
people
anyway.
joining the guild, it's invite only, or they can apply to join, and then
Right.
we have to approve them, right?
And
So
that's why we were thinking like we could, if we do come across anybody that wants or is interested, we could like add them first and then like, you know what I mean, keep doing more stuff with them or bringing them along kind of thing maybe. And, I don't know, maybe get them invited in by a rank or somebody that can't, right?
yeah,
Like,
so we're looking to
or mention it to somebody that's ranked. Like, how does the
uh
process go for us? That's what I'm trying to say. Like the bottom guys
yeah,
Just
so
to help get people in.
yeah, you don't have to worry too much about it right now, but let's see.
Okay.
And in case you guys were curious,
That's all I
let me
had.
go. That should be the link to. That's not the right thing. That was absolutely not the right thing. Let's delete this message. How do I don't even know if I can invite people to the server. I should be able to though. Yeah, I can't. However, I've seen like I was able to just like Google the HCE Discord and it was like one of the first things that popped up. To answer you, Griffin, for the invite. So you should be able to still find it and get in. But
Yeah, I
all right.
think also like the HCE Discord's kind of cool, but I'm gonna start running some HCE events where one, I'd like to get someone else to learn HCE tanking, and two, to give people regular ability to do them.
Yeah. So, all right. Anybody else? Any questions? Hey, look, there it is. You did it. I sucked. Yep. That's the link to join the HCE Discord as well. Which they'll run HCEs oftentimes same way, like or pretty, same style that like the the Aberrate Discord will. So, cool. All right. Any more questions? It doesn't appear so. So, all right, perfect. I'm gonna wrap this up, close the stage. If anybody thinks of anything else, you feel free to reach out to me or to Lost or to Cyanide or to Mare. Ask some questions. We'll be around. And other than that, thank you all for coming, and we'll get going.